What's going on, guys? Junior's Fishing Company with another tying video. Today I have one of the coolest jigs I've ever seen, and I'm not one to spend 12 bucks on a jig, but I think this was worth it. This is a Mega Bass swim jig. The package said UOZE swimmer. Ooze? I don't know. You can give your best guess. But it's by Mega Bass. This is a 3/8 ounce. It says it right on the bottom. 3/8 ounce swim jig. But these things are just built beautifully. I cut them out, but they're hand tied in here. Were monofilament, like bait keepers. Again, I had to cut them out because I'm not going to need them. There's a little nice skirt collar here. These weed guards there's only like 6 or 7 of them, but they're super strong. It's obviously, this is an underspin, and underspins usually are just, in my opinion, kind of crap because they're just built poorly. That's just my opinion, but these are built beautifully. All right, so we've got the jig as ready as I can get it. I'm kind of nervous to bend this way back because it's a little bit flimsy and I don't want to loosen it in that lead. So it's going to be super annoying, but you'll just have to stick with it, through it with me. So I'm going to go with kind of gray and white with this. I've got this Marabou from my Montana Fly Company, and it's like a white barred black, and the barring doesn't show up a ton when these feathers are dry. It's kind of weird. They don't show up a ton when they're dry, but I just got, when you dip it, when they get wet, they show up a lot more. So that's kind of nice. When I opened it, I was like, you can barely see them. But when you get them wet, they show up a lot more. They're not super, like the feathers aren't like this. Like they're not beautiful, long, puffy. The feathers were a little bit, I don't know, lower quality, I guess you'd say. I don't know if it was the process of coloring them or whatever that kind of turned them into that. I've got like a light dun. I think this is silver dun. I can't remember what company. Everyone makes Marabou. So silver dun, and then that barred, and then actually instead of wrapping black, I'm just gonna occasionally strip off some black and just put little lines of black throughout, because black is just going to cover everything. So if I put black and white under it, the black is just going to be an all black bait. So I'm just going to strip off some Marabou occasionally and just kind of work that in to make it a little bit of black. The tail is going to be, I've got black and white saddle hackle that I'm going to use for the tail that I'll tie on in just a second. And then I've got this was Flashabou Silver Ice, holographic Flashabou Silver Ice. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want this bait to be maybe 6 inches, a little bit bigger. It's a big jig. This is going to be a bigger bait. So I'm going to tie in these saddles. I'm actually going to do black and white. I'm going to tie my black and whites in first, and then I'm going to do 4 just all white feathers, because again, this black is going to want to show up more, and I really don't care if these feathers are laying down or up, because they're kind of cupped a little bit. I really don't care. I just want to make sure that they get tied down properly. And I'm going to kind of work them all around. This is 210 black thread. I'm just going to kind of work them around. I'm going to avoid putting them on the very bottom of my hook, but other than that, I really don't care. I'm going to use about 10 feathers here. 10 might seem like a lot, but really these feathers are crazy thin, and so you almost always just want to err on the side of putting too many, because if you put 3 of them in, it's just going to be some tiny little tail. Even 10 might not be enough. So now I've got those ones in. I'm going to get my whites I'm going to lay these down a little more strategically. Just get them right on top. And I've got a ton of room for Marabou. I'm going to use a ton of Marabou on this. It's a heavy jig. It's just, I mean, 3/8 ounce isn't crazy. But when this Marabou's wet too, Marabou is pretty heavy when it gets wet because it just soaks up all the water. It takes a minute for it to soak it up, but so I've got my feathers in. I didn't put any deer hair under here or anything because these are so far back on this hook. I'm not really thinking, and when that Marabou pushes it down, I really don't think it's gonna get too tangled up in my hook. I don't think so. I might be wrong, but I'm gonna get all that down. And now for this Marabou, the first one I'm gonna put in, it's just gonna be silver dun and that barred white. Again, I'm not gonna wrap any black. So I'll get this. I'm intentionally gonna have that white, the barred white on top. Not the whole time, but for these first couple, because I would rather have it be more white than gray. Then I can get my Hackle pliers, and I'll fast forward through a couple of these because it's a pretty repetitive tie. Got my water right there. Get that all pushed back. Then I'll get my thread out of the way. Maybe another one. And I'm just gonna wrap these. I'm gonna wrap super tight. I want a ton of Marabou on this jig because I want to make it a pretty bulky bait. And I didn't put down any of that chocolate tubing or anything like that because this skirt collar is really big already, and I think that's gonna kind of do the job for me. Not as well because it's not that big, but I just didn't want too much going on here. Just keep wrapping, make sure you get all of those fibers unstuck. And this might be it for this one. I'm gonna get this wrapped off nice and tight. I'm gonna fit as many on. I've got 5 of these that I'm gonna try and do. 5 more, so 6 total. But if I don't fit them all, I don't fit them all. If I add another one, I can add another one. I just get everything ready just in case. Make sure that they're wrapped down nice and securely. I'm not going to add any flash yet. I'm going to do one more of those wraps and then I'll add some flash. Alright, work my way up to the skirt collar. I'm guessing it's a skirt collar. Looks like a skirt collar to me. Or keeper. I'm going to put some black down. I put some black down. I forgot that the camera wasn't recording. So I'm going to just show you this one. I mean, it's not complicated. I'm just going to strip a little bit of this off. And I don't really even need to try and line these up. I'm just going to cut them so they're even. And I'm just going to wet the tips, or the butts. And I'm just going to put just a little sliver, just randomly really, throughout this jig. Strip some more off. Again, I'm hoping, Marabou's really tricky when you look at it dry and then when you see it wet. It's usually a lot different than what you think it's going to be. So I'm just going really light on the black. I'm just going to put 3 little strips in here. And this last one I'm going to do really thin. Just, I don't know, 12 of those little fibers. And then I'm going to get some more tinsel in there. Get this pushed back as much as I can. And I'll get some tinsel right here. But you can kind of see the gray and that barred black. I think it's going to be a nice combination. Try and get all that worked back so that I can just clip it and it doesn't get in my way as much. So I've got more of this holographic silver. I'll just taper it out. And I'm going to have it be kind of long because I want it to run all around my bait. It's going to be really hard to spread this out. But I'm going to do my best. So I'll just get these on the top, run them about the same, and this flash is actually going to get trapped a little bit by the Marabou. Not trapped, but covered. I'm just going to fold this back. It's just a little bit anyway. I might even try and fit a couple more right on there because I have some room now that I've wrapped all that stuff down. So I'm going to get one more tight squeeze in here. I might not even be able to get the whole feathers, but that's okay. I've just got some room, and again, I want a lot of Marabou on here. So I'm going to get this wrapped and I'll get back up by that head. Alright, this last part is going to be really annoying. So I actually prepped another set of feathers. It's going to be, again, just the barred and the dun, but this is going to be super annoying. I switched to red thread. I was thinking about doing a collar of rabbit, but I'm kind of leaning just towards a red thread collar just because wrapping, I don't know, it just seems like a lot. So I'm going to attempt to get these feathers down and wrapped through all of this junk. And the first thing I want to do is just get them down. And then I can just move them how I want. I put one more little black bit on there. Get that white out of the way. Get that silver out of the way. And I'm going to try this, and I'm going to, if I need two more, if I can fit two more, I'm going to put them there. All right, here it is. That red collar, I just put some head cement on there, so it looks really dark, but it'll kind of gloss up as it hardens. But really light. This Marabou is going to get a lot darker when it gets wet, but little crappie pattern, swim jig. I really like this jig. It's really well made. Hopefully it swims as well as I think it's gonna. Little crappie, call it a shad, call it what you want, call it crap. I like it. Junior's Fishing Company, juniorsfishing.com. See you on the next one.